Hello and welcome to Spooning With Me, Mark Wogan. Each week I'm joined here at the Mount Street restaurant by a very special guest where Chef Jamie Shears will be cooking up a couple of spoons for them to try blindfolded. This week, taking on the spoons, is the undisputed king of Saturday morning TV. He loves butter, he loves cars, and he loves cooking. Please, will you welcome James Martin.
Thank you very much.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Very good.
It's lovely to have you here.
Yes.
And we have an array of food for you.
It's a pleasure to be here. On my second ever one of these I've ever done. So.
Second ever podcast.
Yeah, second
Well,
ever.
we are honoured, sir.
Absolute pleasure.
We are honoured that you chose us. So let's start at the beginning because we're going to go on a little bit of a food journey
Great
with
stuff,
you.
yeah.
All right. So
Many people know this and they don't ask me that question.
what? They never talk to you
Well,
about
not
food?
really, because I don't really get interviewed a lot. That's about stuff. Like
Well,
that.
that's what strikes me. So there's this thing, right? So you're on TV a lot. You've been on TV for 30 odd years, now,
31
isn't it?
years.
Yeah. And what is it? 29 books now?
36 books.
36 books. Johnny, you miscounted. I'd like to say I do my research myself, but I don't. So 36 books.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time.
And but the interesting thing is, you kind of dictate those, don't you? Because it's like you're like me. You reading,
Yeah, I
writing's
think-
not your forte.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, a lot of, you know what publishing's like, you get told what to do. Now I'm at the position they go, well, what would you like to do? And so when everybody brought a thing about health food cookbooks about 5 years ago, I brought a book out on butter. And,
Yeah.
And I'm doing a thing on cheese.
You have an enduring love of butter.
I'm a farmer's kid.
Yeah.
I like pure food. I like simple food. I'm a farmer's lad, and I just love great ingredients. And as you know that, I like simple cooking, simplicity, but also the bringing out the flavour of the ingredients is more than anything else. So whether that's fish or whether it's meat or vegetables, whatever it is.
But fat is flavour, which a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, well,
we get this message that fat is bad,
Yeah.
but it's also flavour.
If you put margarine outside and put butter outside, the animals will eat the margarine, eat the butter. They won't touch the margarine.
Well, because
They won't touch it.
it is margarine, quite frankly, is Satan's lube.
No, but it's just interesting that nature, the animals and the birds and stuff like that. They know more than us really when it comes to what to eat. And I just think we've just kind of wrecked food over the years, and I think it's the simplicity of food is what I like, and whether it be dairy, whatever it is.
But I think that, as we have now passed both of us, a certain milestone age, you get a little bit more kind of like, well, what do I want out of this? What do I want out of what I eat? How do I want to feel?
But you love your food as well. It's the enjoyment, is the eating side of it, isn't it? That's the great thing about we get. There's so little enjoyment you can get for that amount of money that it's just ace.
Yeah. But there is no, I don't think there's any quarter, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, in cheap butter. Just buy good butter.
Yeah, I mean, I tasted 627 types of butter for that book.
All right, what's your favourite?
Netherend.
Really?
Yeah, they're based just outside of Gloucestershire, and they're on the Gloucestershire-Welsh border. Husband and wife team, fantastic.
And is that salted or unsalted?
They do both. And they actually do a ghee as well now as well. So they do really good ghee. Not one that's been fermented, which a lot of one is, but yeah, really, really good.
Because one of the things that regular listeners to the podcast will know is I always say it's not butter if you can't see your teeth marks in it.
True.
You've got to it's got to have some depth.
Well, if there's one other person that uses more butter than me, and that's John Williams of the Ritz.
Really?
Even I look at him when he comes on the show going, how much? He's just throwing it in. But nobody makes sauces like John Williams of the Ritz. Simple as that. He's the man.
I remember early on, and we were talking about it before, my first job was working with Gennaro Contaldo at the Neal Street restaurant in Covent Garden. And he used to do this dish, so he'd have all these strange cowled figures coming in the morning, bringing in the wild mushrooms.
Yeah.
Because there's all these wild mushroom collectors who are a strange breed.
Yeah.
And he would just cut seps like that thick, chop up a load of onion, and then throw about 8 packs of butter in a roasting tray and just cook it really slowly in the oven. And you just pull one of these out, and just lob it on a piece of toast, and it was one of the best things you could ever eat.
Yes.
I mean, arguably not very good for you, but as long as you're not eating it all day, every day.
It's I remember one of the first dishes that I learnt in London was a garlic terrine, where I had to peel, because now you can buy peeled garlic. Now I had to peel. It was about 450 cloves per terrine, and poach them in milk and then decant it, and poach them in milk and decant it. And it was terrific when you tasted it. But it looked really cool on the plate, but it wasn't my idea.
Well, no, I mean, we were all scarred by those early things. So working there, I was in charge of spinach fritters. So that would involve every morning coming in and looking at 8 boxes of spinach that I would have to pick.
Well, we both worked. That was a busy restaurant, because I was at 190 Queensgate. The same thing. We did the Gore, which was the busy brasserie upstairs.
Yeah.
That was
a great restaurant.
That was probably 700-800 covers a day, and then downstairs you had the Restaurateurs Association of Great Britain. So Roy Ackerman and all that co. And then you used to go. I remember Princess Di used to go and eat there as well when she was courting.
Yeah.
So that was
courting.
Courting. Yeah. No, it's amazing times, but a long time ago. Yeah.
Now, obviously, you being in the position that you're in, people write a lot of stuff about what you eat. And there's lots of speculation. And what strikes...
I don't eat farm fish twice a day, so don't listen to that.
But there is...
eat once a day, don't eat it at all.
But there is that funny thing, isn't it? Because what strikes me about you, and we've met various times over the years, and what strikes me about you is, you're on stage with your tour soon, which we'll talk a bit about. You like performing with guitar. You're on TV every weekend. But you're also very private and kind of almost, would it be rude to say a little bit shy almost?
Yeah.
So there's all this stuff written about you in various aspects of your life, which, is part of being in the public eye, and sometimes it's fine, and sometimes it's a pain in the arse. But does it annoy you when people, you touched on it there, when people write, James Martin eats this, and
fish pisses me off.
No, I don't.
No, fish pisses me off. And you can write, well, I don't care what anybody writes about, it doesn't bother me. It bothers other people. So I get more upset that my mother got doorsteps the other week, and she's in her late 70s, and that's unacceptable to me. When they're outside her house, and it's unacceptable they're outside my father's house, and he's 86. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You do that on my there, I'll set the dog on it. but that's unacceptable.
Because it's your gig, not theirs.
No, but it's not. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. I enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but I didn't sign up for that. And I remember he was actually talking to your dad as well, and Cliff Richard once, and he said the private life is your separate. That's the only domain you've got where you can just that's your domain. And he said you've got to have the two, and you have to put the difference in there. And so when I got my house, they said build big gates, not iron gates that you can see through, wooden gates. So when you go back home and you get that bang behind, I feel like that's my space. Yes, we film the Saturday show there, but that's in a separate part, and it's a separate garage. But your space is your space, and I think because I don't talk about it, because I keep that separate, then they just write wherever they want. But you can't stop all that. What can you do about it?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. It is about maintaining some sense of self in all the madness that is being in the public eye.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, I know with my dad, he just didn't read it.
Well, I don't read it, and I don't read it all until. The weird thing is, I did the tour as well. It's the only thing I do in my life where the restaurant is different, because when you do a dinner, it sells out in 10 seconds and it's thousands on the waiting list.
Well, it does if it's you.
Yeah, but
if I did it, nobody would come.
What I'm saying is, you only get to realise what you do until you go out on the road, until you walk out. I didn't think, I used to walk past the Palladium, and I never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be there on a Sunday night headlining the entire gig on my own, and not just once, 4 times. And you go on there and you walk out and the place is rammed full.
I know.
And you think,
but that's a great feeling.
And but you're nervous because I'm shy. I'm just, and the weird thing is, I am just, you've known me a long time. If there's a lot of people at a restaurant, I'll be the guy in the corner.
The quiet one in the corner.
I'll be the quiet
and everyone's expecting you to be James Martin, but
the guy in the corner.
Yeah, the guy in the corner. So, looking at what has been written. We've tried to create a whole sort of array of foods here. And, you know, what I want to do is either be proved that certain things you do and certain things you're like, no, I've never eaten that in my life. What are you talking about? Okay. So first up is what has been written about you as your choice of breakfast, which I've got down here, which is a red.
Now that's bang on. But it's too small. You need to get a bigger can.
Oh, you like the monster
I've had a big can already this morning. Yeah.
But that is Satan's urine, that stuff. Why are you drinking
It's yin and yang. It's just, I like the F1 team, and you've got to pay for Verstappen somewhere down the line. I feel like I'm doing my part.
Exactly. Giving a little back for all the entertainment.
I know it's really bad. You've got vices. I don't really drink that much. I 2 units a month. I don't really smoke. I do cigar once a month, if that. That you got to have a vice in life.
Oh no, I mean I'm all about vices.
See, I used to be Mars bars, and then they changed the chocolate.
Yeah, no.
So I've gone back to Twix.
And they made them smaller, but Twixes are smaller.
But then you eat the top bit of the caramel, and then you eat the biscuit bit, and then the caramel, fold it up, and then eat it.
No, exactly. Yeah, this is rock and roll. It's a process. Yeah. You know, it's not just, you don't just bite into it and eat it. There's a whole process to eating a Twix.
Yeah, this is.
Go on, knock yourself out.
Thank
there
you
we go.
Cheers.
Second one of the day. so, and then obviously if you were...
So that was true.
That one's true. All right. So obviously if you were eating breakfast,
yes,
like properly, this is you on the go, busy, just making sure you don't pass out through lack of nourishment, right? But over here, I've got your primary choice of breakfast.
This is what we're talking about.
So bacon.
It's actually done it properly as well.
Bacon butty. Right, there we go. That's all yours.
This is done properly as well.
Yeah, well, it's Mayfair, baby.
Yeah, look at this. This is done properly. It's white sliced bread.
Yep.
You can't have sourdough with it.
No.
You know, and all the chefs that do it with sourdough and then toast it. No, you're going. No. This is how it should be. White sliced bread, buttered. My granny used to make the best baked sandwiches ever, and she used to butter the bread so much the butter used to go to the other side of the bread.
Yeah.
When you put it in your mouth, it dissolved. And she used to have an old gas enamel grill they used to put in the best. But can I eat this?
Yeah, of course you can. It's yours.
And it's got no sauce on it. Don't put sauces on it.
What have you got against sauce? Because you see, I like a little bit of ketchup in my.
Ketchup's on a certain thing, but not this needs to taste the bacon, and it's like Sunday lunch.
And it back bacon rather than streaky.
I'm not fussed.
Oh, I thought you'd be particular that it would have to be back bacon, it being a proper.
That's proper.
Yeah. But it has to be white bread.
White bread.
It can't be sourdough or.
But there is a way to you can elevate this even more. If you take the white sliced bread and before you cut it into triangles, like you can tell you're in Mayfair. Look at the triangle.
Should have been just in half.
It should be just left as it is, with the butter dripping out the other end. Then you mop it up with the remaining butter. But if you take this and you mix together full fat milk, cream, and eggs, and dip the entire sandwich with the bacon in it, and then fry it in half a pack of butter, that is epic.
Well, you see, you've almost touched upon what is a Sunday evening ritual in our house, which is the Monte Cristo sandwich. So, for those who don't know, and you would know, the Monte Cristo sandwich is mayonnaise on the inside with the butter, right? Grated mature cheddar, chopped up pickled gherkins and onions, then ham hock over the top, and then you take the whole sandwich and you dredge it in seasoned beaten eggs, and then fry it in the pan in butter.
You fry it or air fry it?
I fry it in butter. Fry it in butter. And then you finish it with a drizzle of honey. We had that, in fact, at home on Sunday.
This is really good. This beats the Twix.
So look, you grew up in Castle Howard, on the farm there. Mm-hmm. Who was the cook in the house at home?
All my family were cooks. In the whole history of my family, there's nobody that was a chef. But my mum was a great cook. My granny was phenomenal. My auntie was amazing. So my auntie did the baking. My granny was a great cook. My mum would always make stuff. So she would never really make stuff out of packets, apart from when you had a fancy dinner party.
Really?
Come round.
That required something.
That required going to a certain shop in Malton and Little Deli and getting a prawn cocktail and some salmon mousse and that kind of stuff, and then hid the packets. But I
made that myself.
Yes, yeah. And I used to run in with the packets at the end. But
right.
My upbringing was always about just food. Just everybody was sat around the table, typical farmhouse kitchen. Sunday, you'd all sit around the family together. My granny would bring the cakes. My auntie would bring the shortbread and bits and pieces of the cakes that she'd made. So there was no real one chef in our house. It was all... Everybody was
a
just
joint
surrounded
effort.
by it. Yeah, and I used to be just from the age of 5 years old. My mum said before that I used to be stood there on a little stool stirring stuff, and then I was actually making Sunday lunch on my own when I was like 6 or 7. I just loved it. I fell in love with it via that.
Because for me it was Mum. Mum is still to this day at 87 a great cook, and we never ate the same thing twice. Very inventive, always experimenting, that kind of thing. Dad, on the other hand, couldn't even boil an egg.
Well, my dad tried, and he would make, I think it was spag bol, and you'd end up with enough spag bol for 40 people. There's only 4 of us.
Yeah.
But
But do you find when you're? I mean, look, I don't have to do it for a living anymore. So the kind of joy of cooking and the peace of cooking has returned for me.
Yeah.
Do you ever sort of cook outside of having to do it for a living?
Yeah, I still love. The weird thing is, I said to all my mates, if I didn't love it, I would stop tomorrow. Well, nobody believes me, but I would genuinely stop tomorrow.
But I enjoy it more now than I ever have.
I'm the same, but I do it for a living still.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. I get such a buzz out of. I was in the restaurant 2 days ago, and the customers go, well, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, what do you mean? What am I doing?" And even the chefs are going, "Chef, shouldn't you be in the office or wandering around?" And I said, "No, I'm stood there with the guys, and I'm just I'm in there working. I love it. I still love it to this day."
I remember hearing you on the radio talking to Chris Evans during lockdown. And that whole thing that you did about cooking for the community and just getting in the kitchen but just getting in the kitchen every day, because that's what kept me sane.
Well, it's what kept me sane. I remember in lockdown there was a lot of stuff you couldn't buy pasta, you couldn't buy eggs, you couldn't do this, but you could commercially still. So I thought, well, I'll buy a load of eggs, I'll get the pasta machine out of the restaurant, and I made 3,800 kilos of pasta.
But you were just giving it away.
Yeah, I gave it away.
Yeah.
I put it out the front of the gate. I gave it away. There's a little Facebook thing in the village, and people came and they took the bag of pasta and they went home. And when it was clear, I brought it back in again. And then till somebody came and nicked the tray, the table, the lot. I had 40 bags of pasta. Took the whole lot, put it in the car, and drove off. So then I posted a thing going, and there's power of social media in it. I said, I've got your registration number. I've got a great picture of you on the security camera. I said, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to bring it back. And with that, it was brought back. That was fine. But I had wonderful people in the village were coming along, this wonderful old gentleman, and lived on his own, and came along with 4 sticks of rhubarb and he tied it up with a little bit of twine with a little message on it going, "Thank you." That's all he said, "Thank you." So he put the rhubarb on the tray and took the pasta. And so the following day, or that night, I'd made something out of the rhubarb. I put it back in a jar and gave it back to him. A rhubarb compote.
And being a Yorkshireman, you are a big rhubarb fan.
Oh yeah. Old Roy rhubarb, from the rhubarb triangle, yeah.
But going back a little bit again, so like I suspect, like me, school didn't have an enormous allure for you.
Hated it. No, I'd be brutal. I hated every side of it. I failed all my exams at school. I didn't enjoy it. I loved the cooking side of it, but I couldn't do it academically because hand in hand you had to pass these things called exams.
They're taking the joy out.
And I would never pass an exam in my life. Then I left school with no qualifications. I'm not proud of it, but I used to hate Wednesdays spelling tests, and I'd be in tears on a Wednesday night. I'd have 20,000 words to write because I knew that I would get every single one of them wrong. Massively dyslexic. Never read a book in my life apart from, I think, Peter and Jane level B2 was probably the last one I read when I was at primary school. But I just longed to be cooking. And so in hand with being at school, I was working on every weekend. I was working on a night. I was in a summer holiday where everybody just chill out. I used to go to France and I was working in 2-star Michelin places and chateaus and places like that, when all I ever wanted to be was a beer chef from age of 8 years old. So
But
I just needed that spark.
when at school, you had quite a unique approach to lunch. And I have it down here. If it is to be believed, James.
Is it more white bread again?
Yes.
Yeah, I know this.
So there's the apple juice, which was the drink choice, and the Superman lunchbox.
This is it, yeah.
Now, have I got the contents of the Superman lunchbox
Now,
right?
does it involve? It either involves crisp bananas and a flake.
There we go.
You've got it, and it's got to be wrapped in cling film.
Now, I may have left out the crisps. Does that ruin it if I've left out the
No,
crisps?
it's fine.
I mean, just for health reasons. In the other, we've got the Satsuma.
But I used to have
there.
that. My mum used to put that in. But used to part exchange it for Twix on the way back. This is it. Looking at this diet, it's just a wonder why I'm still alive, isn't it? Really, after this. But this was it. You used to press it. See, nobody would swap with me at college.
Well, I mean,
This is smell that.
hold on, I'm going to eat the other half. So what we've got here, for those people listening and not watching, is we have white bread,
Yeah.
the inside of which is caked in butter properly, and then we've got mashed up banana and a crushed up Cadbury's flake.
Can I just say, please tell me the chefs in Mayfair have done this downstairs.
No, I did this.
Oh, you did this?
This was made at home this morning, because as I understood it, it had to be in the cling film for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, you have to see the butter, you see, and it usually cling film, usually on a warm bus.
Yeah.
For a duration of about half an hour ride, and then you'd be
All the better in the summer.
yeah,
Yeah,
even better.
than in winter. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's good. But, that's really nice. That is good.
See,
You can keep eating that, because I'm...
people look at this going, that's just weird. It's just not right. But
I can confirm that is good. You know,
Yeah.
he obviously from an early age knew what he was doing with flavour combinations. But you had that spirit of the cook in you from a really early age. That was it for you from the off, really. Wasn't it?
everything I wanted to do in life.
I'm gonna have another mouthful. Of that.
Yeah, it is really good. That, but, everything I wanted to do in my life involved around food, and it was either working on the family farm, which was never going to be because my father taught me at a young age when he taught me doing that. I learned the value of lots of things at school when I was a young kid, which then made me ready for the life in the kitchen. Fundamentally, the value of hard work, and I think, chefs say it's hard work. No,
Not now.
not ever.
45 hours a
Not
week.
ever. No, I remember working in some very, very famous restaurants back in the 80s. Not a patch on working on a farm. Not a patch. You want to know? And that's not a patch on... There are other people with tremendously hard-working jobs, but you're in a warm environment, you get nice food to eat. Come on.
But I mean, all of them are, whether it's farming or cooking for a living, hospitality, it's vocational.
It is, but I think for me, I learnt the value of hard work, but I learnt the value about respect. And this is where I see my job as slightly different to the others, because I used to produce the food, and now I cook the food. But you learn to, if you want to really understand about food, you've got to understand about how difficult it is to produce. And until you understand that, it's not going to make you a great cook, because the value of understanding how difficult it is to produce the ingredients that we've got for our plate, because people take it for granted. It's really difficult. And if you just have a veg garden, or if people with allotment will wake up one day and all your carrots have been eaten, think of that on a massive scale. Think of what's happening at the moment with all the farmers, with the floods and everything else. It was an invaluable lesson in my life in terms of respect, but it's also in terms of work ethic, and I've always had that. Always had that in my head.
No, I mean, you've always worked hard, because and you achieved stuff as a result slightly earlier than most. Because when we first met all those years ago, you were the head chef at the Hotel du Vin in Winchester.
21 years old,
yeah. But even then, I remember going into the kitchen, and even then, up on the wall in the kitchen, I remember it really clearly, is a picture of you being a lunatic in a car. So,
yeah. This is how crazy the element of that. You've got chefs, the craziness. There's a fine line between, chefs are all crazy. Don't say they're not. They're all
mad people.
So,
I always say, I used to be a chef, but I'm fine now.
Yes, I remember my car. I didn't have enough money to buy a car, so it was basically 3 cars welded together. It was a Vauxhall Nova, and then I started to get a little bit of TV while I was doing the Hotel du Vin. And rather than go out and buy a car, which would, Ford Fiesta or something normal, I went out and bought a Lotus Caterham.
Yes.
And that was
the picture that you had on the wall.
That was my one and only car. And I drove it everywhere.
With no roof.
I drove it to the big breakfast where I met Chris Evans with all my food in the back. And I'd arrive at the big breakfast with half the food missing because it had gone. It was completely insane.
How did the TV stuff start?
It was actually thanks to several people, but it was... Because of the nature that you remember that time that the Hotel du Vin, it just opened. Robin Hudson is the genius hotelier, probably the UK's greatest hotelier.
Fantastic at what he does.
Amazing ideas, man. You had Gerard Basset, the master sommelier, and then you had this young kid, which was me. I had a
handsome kid.
I had a point to prove, but because everybody, when you're 21 years old, you doubted. But how that worked was... Because of the nature of the hotel, we were fully booked for 10 months. You couldn't get in. We used to get a lot of people turning up saying, "Oh, we booked a table." No, you haven't. And one of those groups of people were Lloyd Grossman, Rick Stein, and Keith Floyd. And they came in with a lady called Mary Ramsey, who was a producer at the time, a TV producer, and came in. Didn't have a table, so we sat at the bar. Robin and Gerard weren't there that night. So I remember cooking.
I mean, you're not going to turn those 4 away, are you?
Then you couldn't, because there was everybody. There was a queue up. There was everybody turning up. I remember there was Shirley Bassey turning. There was everybody, mate. It didn't matter who you were. They were just. And I said, "Look, we haven't got a table. You can sit at the bar if you want." So I sat at the bar. Anyway, at the end of the night, I came through from the kitchen of the bar with this bandana and long hair. And
we all remember that.
And dark eyes, because I hadn't seen daylight for months. And this lady gave me a card. She said, "Look, I'm Mary Ramsey. I'm producing this new idea of this new cooking format show. Have you done on television? Have you got an agent?" I went, I can't afford a house. I used to sleep on the sofa of the hotel. That's how little I had. No money, nothing.
Well, you kept spending it on cars.
Well, no, this was before cars. I lived on the sofa for 6 months, and then I lived above a Chinese and Indian restaurant just down the road on Southgate Street for 2 years. 30 quid a week rent. She gave me a card. I remember this car arriving. It was my first ever time in a chauffeur-driven car. Straight to London. I said, "Look, I've got to be back for service." So I worked through till 3 o'clock in the morning to get prepped, ready for lunch. Car picked me up at 7. I turn up at somewhere in London. It's at Wandsworth area, I think. There's a lot of people pointing cameras at me like, "Yeah," and they just said, "Cook something," and I just cooked something. And somebody was chatting to me, and I did this thing. I went, "There you go." And then I got in the car and drove back. And I remember going back and the guy saying, "How was it?" It was fun, but I've got no idea. And then all of a sudden she rang me, but she rang me in the middle of service. It was like 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night. She rang and the phone got put through the kitchen. And I slammed the phone down because the pastry chef slammed the phone down first. Then somebody else slammed the phone down. And anyway, this message came through at the end of the night.
So people know, never ring a kitchen during service.
It was carnage. It was carnage. So this little note came through in the hot pass. "Please ring this number, Mary Ramsey." So I phoned her up after service, and she slammed the phone down on me. And that was. And ever since then, we've just had this. Yeah.
Are you still doing that to this day?
No. But it's just it. And that, I think we finished at like 12 o'clock at night. So you just think because everybody works the same hours as you. No. The reality is not. That's how it all started. And yeah, I thought I would go into it. I thought it would last. And I remember my mum turning around to me and said, "Well, do it for a week. It may not last."
Turned out all right, though.
Well, it turned out a right decision, but it'd be interesting. It's interesting. All my mates now question the fact that what would have happened if I'd have
Exactly.
not gone into TV.
If you hadn't gone into TV.
Where would I be in that restaurant?
Yeah, there's your
These
apple
guys have
juice
got to
fillet.
taste this. It's a game
Yeah,
changer.
they can have the here. Look,
It's a game changer.
everybody
Is that a game
on
changer?
yeah, everybody on camera is always hanging out for food.
Yeah.
in food
Well,
shows.
let me portion it up for them.
Yeah, portion it up.
Go on then.
You know,
While you ask the next one.
you've had your sandwich cut up by James Martin.
Well, that's your bit, but you've got to.
Chris and Rory are now going to try this.
No, you're going to taste. This is a game changer.
Go on. There we go. Pass it over. So Chris is going in first.
Go on then.
Oh, Chris, try that. What do you think?
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Say, go on, Rory. You film Rory eating it now.
So
Here we go.
I know. It just sounds weird. But trust me.
Get on with it, Rory. We're running to time here.
He's not.
Oh, look at him. He's
Tastes-
so
when he hits
precious,
when
isn't
he
he?
hits the taste buds, watch.
Huh? What are we feeling? Come on, some words there, Rory. We need words here. It's a podcast.
It's quite bizarre.
Thank
Quite
you.
Bizarre. Excellent. There we go. We'll go with bizarre. So we've got to that time in proceedings
Right.
where you are going to. Hold on. Where have I got it? You're going to don the blindfold. We got you
I
rather.
did look at this, and this is like, is this some game that you play?
Yeah.
On a night? Is this?
Yeah. But I'm going to try and involve you in it now.
Right.
Right. So if you wouldn't mind donning the, I thought, leopard skin
Now, why?
blindfold.
What did you say? This looks like something completely different to it.
Yeah, it looks like a small bra.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Right.
There we go. Pop that on.
Right. If it's that bloody plate again.
No, it's not.
I know where you live.
No, I promise you, I am not going to be feeding you steak tartare with horseradish.
Right.
But we are going to go to your first spoon,
Oh my God.
which is this. Okay.
What is this supposed to be anyway? Is this supposed to be a pleasant experience, or is this supposed to
That's
be
for you to decide.
Well, I've got like a miniature bra on my head. So
Well, we've started well then. Right, so here it comes. Open wide.
Oh God.
A bit wider. There we go. Tell me the flavours, the textures that you're getting there. You've got it. What part of that isn't delicious, Jay?
Lobster.
Yeah.
Lobster thermidor.
Yeah. Lovely butter sauce lobster. Whip the blindfold off. So
Yeah, that's beautiful.
lots of butter and a lobster. What's
Yeah,
not
that's
to like
beautiful.
about that?
Well, that's fine until somebody puts horseradish on it.
Yeah, but we haven't done that.
That's beautiful.
So, because you talked about, obviously, when before people come on, they fill out the questionnaire, and it was literally just, it's really fish and butter for you nowadays, isn't it?
Well, it is. I think you get to a certain age and go. It actually comes to the fact that I used to race cars and still try and race a few cars, and I actually struggle to get out of them now. Getting in them, you sort of fall in them,
Yeah.
but then you got to get out of them, and it just
With people watching.
it doesn't look very very good. So then I've decided that I maybe need to stay clear away from these
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and maybe eat fish, and it's worked.
But you eat a lot of fish now.
Probably 80% of what I eat.
But you see, I find, right, and like yourself, I am.
I eat a little bit of this.
Yeah, it's all yours.
It's delicious.
Right? Like yourself, I'm a man of a certain age, and given my frame, if I walk past a potato, I will put on about a kilo.
Says the bloke that's got like 10 metre pictures of himself in train station.
Yeah, I didn't put those up.
Look on the back. How
All
much
right.
you paid for that a month?
Nothing. I do that out of my own goodwill. So, yeah, there is a big picture of me in Liverpool Street Station with no clothes on.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. But it's not easy to maintain, is it? If you love...
No, never.
All right, we're going to put you on a regime.
Go on.
We're going to get
I
James
don't-
Martin with a six-pack.
I don't go to the gym. I've got no. All I do is I come down to the fact of loving food, but it comes down to the fact of basically getting me arse in and out of a car, and the older you get, I don't know. I walk miles anyway in the restaurant, and you're on the feet all the time.
What's
But
your average step count a day?
I do about 10 miles a day when I'm in the restaurant, so I don't really have steps. I don't.
Yeah. Don't know what that is.
Don't know what it means,
Yeah.
but you know,
I mean,
a lot of running around.
No, but I mean, having watched you and listened to you, there's almost an aversion to the sort of, for you, the traditional way of getting fit. You don't like gyms, you don't like any form of what would be described as structured exercise.
I don't mind it, but it's just not for me, really, is it? It's just, I always like my work, and I just think, and there's people who do that, and it's great. Got a bike, I cycle, cycle about where I live.
But that's not your only mode of transport, isn't it? I mean, you have got what one would describe as quite an extensive car collection.
I like my cars.
Yeah. I mean, as do I, and I am enormously, I'm in admiration and envy of what you have in your garage. It is extraordinary, some of the cars you have. I mean, it's not just like, oh, these are the few cars I bought. It's a properly curated thing.
Eclectic mix of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you've got to have a hobby outside of the work, really. And the cars are one thing. I've actually got, because I've not been very well recently, so I've had a new hobby while I've been recovering from, because I knew it was going to be a 6-month process of getting better and going in and getting better and getting in and out. And so I've got into building remote control planes. Yeah, but it's I build remote control jet planes.
Have you flown any of them yet?
No, but all my mates keep sending me videos. It takes you a year and a half to build these damn things, and about
How big is this thing?
8 seconds to crash it. They're 50 kilos, 4 meters long. So from here to the end of the bar.
So basically, you're building a plane.
Yeah.
You are about to, you've just gone on sale.
Yeah.
Which is is it 30-day live tour?
It's 40.
So it starts, was it next February?
Yeah.
And goes, you're on
March, yes. Yeah. It's fully on the road. You get like 2 days off in between, but this is the first time I'm touring in a tour bus. I'm super excited. I usually drive myself. But now I think you've got to reach a certain pedestal. You actually have your own bus.
Your own tour bus.
And you can spec out your bedroom, and you spec out the bar and stuff like that downstairs.
Sounds like that's the most enjoyable part.
I can't wait. I just did it last week, and the bus is on hold, but you need to spec where do you want a motorbike in the garage, or do you want a car? Do you want to do this? I just can't wait.
So what can people expect from a live James Martin show?
No idea. People have asked me this for the last 4 tours, and I've got no idea. It's people. It's fast paced. It's food. I've got a brilliant people who work with me on it. So there's a guy called Rich Kerwin. He does all the Strictly tours. So they put all the mad ideas that I've got all onto a stage show. So we're talking cars. The last tour that I did, I wanted to start the show. All the content's different each time. But I wanted to start the show differently. So I thought, right, how better to start the first part of the show, the very first bit as you come on stage, rather than go on stage, go, hey, all this. How better to start it than I'm going to do a little montage of France. So I've got Keith Floyd's 2CV.
Yeah.
So Keith Floyd had it in France for 16 years. I bought it. It's complete with dents and everything else on it. But I've had a replica made 5th scale. So like a kid's battery electric, and I've had it wrapped. So I took it to a guy who usually wraps like footballers' cars in Manchester, who wrapped it into the same thing as Keith Lloyd's car, and I drove it on to Je T'aime music as I was wearing Keith Lloyd's hat and a glass of wine and a bottle, and I drove it on stage and parked it up. And when you take the hat off and you see 5,000 people at the Apollo or the Palladium, then you got it.
Yeah.
And then you're off.
Because you kind of expect, you sort of, the cooking is quite on a larger scale,
If you
isn't
think
it?
it's a Saturday morning show on stage, you're deluded. It's like that on steroids. It's just
Because in the past you've done the biggest bacon butty.
Yeah, I did the bacon. Yeah, that was 32 calories in one portion, yeah. 32,000 calories, sorry, in one portion. But I did the whole thing on last time about Bernie Inns. Do you remember when you...
Yeah.
Bernie
Steak and strawberries, $5.99.
Bernie Inn, mega. So I did a whole piece on Bernie Inns about Steak Diane, and did this thing and with the Mattis Rosé bottle and the Blue Nun, and then you go off and do a thing on Solar Streams. So soda streams, back then, now soda streams are really sort of, they've been refined, shall we say?
Yes.
Well, soda streams back when I was a kid nearly took your bloody head off.
Yeah, get busy with the physics.
Yeah, where you press the button like that and it make this sound like a fart.
And then you open it up. And
then you go, and the thing top used to fly off. It used to nearly take your eye out.
No, it was a very dangerous piece of kitchen
I went on
equipment.
eBay and I bought most of the original soda streams in the UK. And I took them on tour. And Morris, every night, he'd try to kill me.
And what's the other thing with people's tattoos?
Oh, yeah, I've got an obsession with tattoos, yeah. I've always wanted a tattoo, but I'm not quite brave enough. So
Come with me.
You
want tattoos? There we go.
Yeah,
There's a couple of food ones.
Yeah,
Look, we've got all the cookery symbols
Jake,
down there.
Remember that Tattoo Fixers? I was obsessed with that tattoo.
Oh, yeah,
fixer.
yeah.
So Jake, who was on that, said, I'll come and do your tattoo whenever you want. So I've been thinking about it. But then I thought, what better way to do this than pull people out of the audience? But then I went and did research, and you go online to get some dodgy tattoos. There's a Pinocchio one that's surreal. I think you've seen that one.
Yeah.
But then there's a cat one.
Yeah. No, I mean...
There's a cat's ass one that looks like...
in the belly
anyway,
button.
that links in with Bernie Inns, but you've got to see the show to understand what it's all about. And then I pull people from the audience, and the whole idea is they get to win a prize. And I think last year we did it, and we gave away vouchers to my favourite restaurants. So I gave away a voucher every night to either the Waterside Inn, the Gareth Ward's for dinner. So it was how the audience picked the best tattoos from the people that come down from the audience. And oh my God, you get some surreal things. Yeah.
Has anyone got a tattoo of you on them?
I did. One lady came down, but the best one was a lady came down, and we got on stage, and I said, "Where is this tattoo?" Because you've got to ask first.
Yeah.
I mean, usually in the places where you don't want to announce in front of 4,000 people. Yeah. So this lady decided to, without drink, apparently, took her entire top off and had this bra. And this it was a substantial bra.
Yes.
And this tattoo wasn't the front. It was at the back. But she had a whole lion's head on her back. But the bra looked like it was blindfolded. It was a blindfolded bra. It was just... it was wicked, but we've had so many. Yeah, there's a lady with Jack and the Beanstalk on her leg. I shan't tell you where Jack was.
Where was Jack ending up?
He was going all the way up, and yeah.
So if
we could see Jack's feet.
Come back, Jack, all's forgiven.
So can't really do that on a Saturday morning. So
No. I can see how you're taking a bit of a departure. If you were going to have a tattoo, what would it be? Have you decided what the tattoo would be?
People say, block of butter. No, polar bear.
A polar bear?
Yeah. I used to be called a bear when I was a young kid. So.
No, so you're not a big fan of foxes' glassy.
No. Might do.
See, I've got a pig down here.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a whole pig down there, and that came about because we went to San Sebastian, and I wanted to mark the trip because it had taken us 12 years to get there.
Yeah.
I wanted to mark the trip with a tattoo, and my wife hates all my tattoos.
Right.
So I said,
"Is that a good idea?"
Well, I said, look, I've found a tattoo artist. They've got a slot free tomorrow. Do you mind if I have it? And she went, only if I choose it. And at that moment, a plate of ham on went down in front of us. She went, you're having a pig. Thinking I would say no. I now have a pig on me as a result.
There you go.
We'll get you tattooed. We're going to get you tattooed.
Maybe a can of this. I don't know. I don't know. I just it always. No, I get close, but then no.
One day.
Yeah.
One day. So it's time for your second spoon.
Is it? Okay.
So we're just going to move this one out of the way.
Can't believe I'm wearing this thing.
You look very good in it.
Thanks.
Trust me. It's most becoming.
Hold on.
Strap it on, they say.
Right.
Right. So time for your second and final spoon.
Okay.
Open wide. Here it comes. There we go. Talk to me about textures, flavours. What are you getting? You're enjoying that? What have we got there, James? Come on, give us something here.
Is it cheesy?
It's not cheesy, mate.
Words out.
Take the blindfold off. Take the blindfold off.
What is it? Chicken.
Yeah, it's chicken.
Yeah. But it's been that's not chicken. That's been brined and that's been
Yeah, but hold on.
butter and.
Oh,
yeah.
well, to be fair, it was following one of your recipes.
Yeah,
That's the lost chicken and morels.
beautiful.
Lost
It's beautiful that.
out of James Martin's Spanish adventure.
It's beautiful that. You should try that from San Sebastian. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's a nice recipe.
It is a nice
Doesn't
recipe.
taste anything like cheese.
But that's the thing, isn't it? When you remove sight,
Weird, isn't it?
it throws things out. And I mean, as you know, we've had Tom Kerridge, we've had some other bloke who does something on what's his name, Tebbit something like that.
Oh, Matt,
But we've had him on as well, and Michel Roux,
Right.
and they all kind of the minute the sight's out, it sort of throws people a little bit.
It's really weird, isn't it? Sensors are amazing things, and I remember doing some stuff for the NHS about stuff, and it's an amazing, how all your senses react. But
That is a great book, by the way.
thank you very much.
I should be asking you to sign that for me before you
It's not a
leave.
problem. I can do that to eBay. Not a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Or we'll just have one of the rare unsigned ones.
Yeah,
on
that'll
eBay.
be much more rarer. Yeah,
Well, look, James, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
it's a pleasure.
I wish you every success with the tour.
That when we're in London, we're at the Apollo, so you must come down.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
definitely
I'd
will.
love to. Yeah, look.
Definitely will.
Because then you'll understand what it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know at the moment.
Look, well, I mean, I'll,
Between now and then, I'll tell you.
but it starts, what is it, 15th of Feb is the first date?
February. So it's February runs through March as well. We start in Leicester and we end in London, and we're everywhere in between, Scotland, Wales, and some iconic places.
And they get to see a different sort of James Martin.
A very
will you
di-
be getting the guitars out?
The guitars will be out. I'm actually practicing a couple of tracks at the moment.
You say practicing, you're actually quite good at it, aren't you?
No, I'm no musician yet, but I'm practicing. But it's like anything. If you want to be decent at something, you got to keep plugging away at it. But I'm thinking about doing 1980s for end of part two, and I think
doesn't
that
love the
1980s anthems.
Yeah.
'Cause
Final countdown?
Where they've allowed me to have pyros this time, you see. So now I can have pyros. I can probably have a like a rain screen, the shower screen out of pyros.
Do you think you'll be donning a kind of Joey Tempest wig for that one as well?
Yeah, see, you got all
Oh,
that.
but of course, back to the
You
bandana.
see, could be doing that. I don't quite sure yet, but
Well, if you want to see James, the tickets are available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And thank you again, James.
mate, it's a pleasure seeing you as well.
It's been lovely to see you again after all these years. That is it for Spooning this week. Thank you to, of course, Jamie Shears and the team here for cooking up these fantastic spoons. I'll be joined next week by someone very special who will be blindfolded and fed in the same way that James just has been as well. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, it is available on YouTube as well. Until next week, stay beautiful, people.